Now available for free on Google Play and Smashwords. The Retreat by Lawrence Cherry. If you want to advance in your faith in God, sometimes you have to retreat. Get The Retreat for free on Smashwords and Google Play today. Last week, a 16-year-old boy survived an attempt to take his life by a racist and I believe to be a demonic white supremacist. Now, in this incident, which took place in Kansas City, Missouri's Northland area, 16-year-old Ralph Yarl had driven to pick up his siblings who were visiting at a home. And as he approached what he believed to be the right door, he allegedly rang the bell. And as he rang the bell, Andrew D. Lester, an 84-year-old man, allegedly wound up shooting Ralph Yarl, a 16-year-old black boy, through the door, and then allegedly opened the door and then looked to shoot him once more in the head to kill him. And after he wound up shooting Ralph Yarl twice, Ralph Yarl then scrambled to get away from him, and he approached the door of two neighbors who refused to answer the door. But a third neighbor answered the door and got him some medical help as related to his wounds. However, the response of law enforcement is quite troubling to me because it shows how many are looking to enable this white supremacist and hope to help him be able to get away with the attempted murder of Ralph Yarl. Now, when I take a critical examination of the attempt to murder Ralph Yarl, it basically mirrors the same actions that George Zimmerman participated in when he looked to take the life of Trayvon Martin. Now, like George Zimmerman before him, Andrew D. Lester looks like one of these racists who was upset that Ralph Yarl had the audacity to disrupt his smooth world by having the audacity to go up to his door and ring his doorbell. Because it just seems troubling to me that a man is going to go downstairs with a loaded firearm to answer his door. That is not the rational response of an individual as related to addressing an individual ringing his door at night. No, if somebody is ringing your door at night and you don't think you know who this is, what a person does, like I do here in the South Bronx, is talk to that person through the door, and you talk to that person through the door in the hopes of getting the information that you can in order to help them. And that's what any rational individual would look to go out here and do after they would ask this person, who is it, to get the person to identify themselves. Then they wait for that person to make a response. And if that person doesn't live there, they ask them who they're looking for in the hopes of pointing them in the direction of where they want to go. That is what a rational, critical thinking individual does, but a racist who has been sitting up listening to a whole lot of conspiracy theories on the internet and was possibly a hardcore racist before this as related to reports as related to his grandson, he's going to go downstairs with a loaded firearm because he has malice aforethought as related to taking out whatever black person they believe is behind the door. Because with many of these racists, they believe that that black people are a bunch of predators, and they believe that they need to be armed to defend themselves from these predators, and they decide they need to have their firearm at their side in order to deal with whatever threat is out there. And that's what I believe happened here with Andrew Lester. Andrew Lester decided to go downstairs to his door with a loaded firearm, and he decided that since only black criminals come out at night, they're going to come to his door looking to start trouble with him. And that's why he looked to open the door and not look to engage in any conversation to find out who was behind it. No, what he did was take out his gun, according to Ralph Yarl's statements, and took the gun out and wound up shooting him through the door first, and then opened the door and looked to shoot him in the head to go out here and send a message to every other black criminal out there that if you mess with Andrew Lester, this is what's going to happen to you. This is the same type of message that many racists love to send in the dark days of Jim Crow, when they would leave black men hanging on trees. And this is the same type of message that I believe Andrew Lester wanted to send as related to Ralph Yarl. What he wanted to do, again, with this shooting of Ralph Yarl was send a message to any other black person who came up to his residence, any other black person who would come up to this residence. He is sending a message to them that this will be your fate. And again, this is the only reason I believe he had the malice of forethought to go downstairs with a loaded firearm at night, because anybody who is looking to answer a door late at night, they know that if they've got their door locked, there's no way that that person can come in to attack them. And the first thing they're going to do is talk to that person through the door and find out who this person is before they open their door for that individual. Again, everything here points to this Andrew Lester not looking to even want to communicate with Ralph Yarl, because according to reports, after the only time he wanted to talk to Ralph Yarl is after he allegedly shot him, and after he allegedly shot him, he told him not to come back here. And again, that is all about sending a message of terror to this young black boy that is similar to the messages that white racists looked to send to black people during the dark days of Jim Crow. Many racists out here want to go out here and send that kind of message. And the reason why they want to send that kind of message is to instill fear in the black community that if you go up to a white person's property, there will be consequences if you go up to that property and don't follow the unwritten rules of Jim Crow, which say that a black person has to be out here looking to submit to the authority of white supremacy. That is the message that the white racist here, I believe Andrew D. Lester, wanted to send. He wanted to send a message to, again, stoke terror in this young boy and further ripple out so that other people can know to be afraid of this pathetic old white demon. And this pathetic old white demon, what he wanted to do was make everybody terrified of him. But he is no one to be afraid of. No, he's no one to be afraid of, because he's basically another one of these textbook beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And this beta male basically was afraid of black people, and he was so afraid of a black person that he looked to take the life of an innocent teenage boy who was looking to do what any good boy of character does, looking to protect his siblings by picking his siblings up so that they would be safe. But the person he wasn't safe from was this racist, and he wasn't safe from this racist because this racist was basically looking to maintain the parameters of his smooth world. And again, he didn't want to deal with the idea of conflict or obstacles from the presence of black people, and because he didn't want to deal with the conflict of having to deal with the presence of a black person, this is what motivated him to participate in trying to murder Ralph Yarl, a 16-year-old boy. And his whole story, again, just shows us how little things have changed in this country, because this 84-year-old man basically was set in his old racist ways, and those ways were basically reinforced by much of the dysfunctional media that has been presented in most of the internet. Because like many of these beta males, your Andrew D. Lester basically was one of these beta males who I believe was on many of these racist websites having his rose-colored reality reinforced. He was on these sites basically like Breitbart and the Daily Stormer and Stormfront, along with a whole host of possible BitChute videos and other media. This is what basically fuels many of these racists to believe that they are in a place where they are under siege. And because these individuals believe that they are under siege, listening to much of this media that they pick up from many of these far-right websites such as Gab and BitChute and Stormfront and Daily Stormer. These guys sit there and they listen to all of this and then listen to a whole lot of Facebook friends who tell them about a big black brute menace that's looking to terrorize people, and that's why they go out here and look to approach a door with a firearm instead of looking to try to get information from that individual to send them on their way. The reason why this Andrew D. Lester wound up responding like this is because this beta male basically created his own rose-colored reality of hate. And as he created his own rose-colored reality of hate, he was basically waiting for some black person to come into that environment to be a threat so that he could go out here and send a message to that black person and the rest of the world that he was ready to stand up and fight against it. Again, this beta male basically wanted to go out here and destroy the life of Ralph Yarl because it was all about sending a message similar to what I believe George Zimmerman was looking to do with Trayvon Martin, because with a lot of these beta males, they really feel inferior about themselves, and because they feel inferior about themselves, they want to be the hero of the story. And the only way for them to be the hero of the story is for them to find a person to make out to be the villain. And that's what I believe Andrew Lester was looking to do. He was looking to make Ralph Yarl, again, a 16-year-old boy looking to do what was right, into a bad guy so that he could have somebody to say that he took down and feel like a hero in his little smooth world. He wanted to feel like a man, but he showed everybody he was one of the most dangerous men in crisis, one of these white supremacists, a male with a deep inferiority complex, and that deep inferiority complex had this demon motivated to go out here and participate in murder with malice aforethought, and he wanted to again murder this young black boy, I believe, in order to feel like a man and feel like he was protecting his property. But he was the clear and present danger, and he was a clear and present danger because he was living in that rose-colored reality of racism, believing that there was a big black menace, and he went looking to take out a big black menace, but then wound up taking his life into a downward spiral. And while these prosecutors are looking to drag their feet in order to protect this old bastard, what they're trying to do is buy him time. And when I look at the charges they gave Andrew Lester, it shows me that the Kansas City, Missouri law enforcement really and the courts aren't really looking to punish this man, to send a message, because first-degree assault and armed criminal action are not good enough charges as I see it. No, this old bastard needs to be charged with first-degree murder, and he needs to be charged, not first-degree murder, but first attempted murder, because he was looking to attempt to murder this boy with malice aforethought, and he was looking to attempt to murder this boy because he came downstairs with a loaded firearm and looked to shoot through the door, never looking to ask any questions. The only words he allegedly said were, don't come back here no more. And again, that shows me malice aforethought. And it shows me malice aforethought because this was an attempt to murder this boy. Because an 84-year-old man, if you hear the doorbell, again, you wouldn't be thinking, let me ask who this is. Let me talk to him through the door if I feel threatened, because the door is locked. And again, shooting through the door, that is saying that, oh, I want to hurt this individual, and to then take the door, open the door, and then shoot the individual in the head. Again, these alleged actions are an attempt of murder, and I'm just finding it interesting that there is no attempted murder charge. I just really am disgusted by this. And what this beta male wants to do is try to stand behind the stand your ground law. But I don't think the stand your ground law applies here. And I don't think the stand your ground law applies here because Andrew Lester was not threatened in any way, shape, or form behind a closed door. No, there was no attempt or intention by Ralph Yarl to try to break into his home. And again, that is what stand your ground is all about. And that's the thing that's really twisted about these laws. Again, when I think about what happened here, I think about what happened with John White here in New York State. I mean, John White's son had gone out here and talked about a white girl, and one of these simp white guys wanted to try to kill him. And he chased his son on Long Island all the way over to his father's house. His father then pulls out a firearm to defend himself. And he wasn't, and the whole thing is that John White was not able to even get out of that whole situation. They put him in jail for defending himself and protecting himself. But we're told, oh, Andrew Lester is standing his ground. No, you're not standing your ground when an individual just rings on your doorbell and is looking to find someone. No, if somebody is breaking into your home, it's one thing. But if they are just coming on your property to ask to pick up somebody and they get the wrong address, that's a completely different situation. But with these beta male racists, they shoot first and they ask questions later. And that is what makes these beta males extremely dangerous, because again, these men do not have any critical thinking. And that becomes even more dangerous because they go into the rose-colored reality of the internet, as his grandson alleges, and they get their heads filled with a lot of dysfunctional ideas, and then they go out here and look to apply that dysfunction, and again, looking to go out here and destroy the life of someone so that they can feel adequate about being a man. But what we see here is, again, another one of these racists who is a man in crisis and a clear and present danger to others. And the sad part is that the criminal justice system possibly will look to give this old bastard a pass instead of sending him to the penitentiary where he belongs, where he can go out here and try to show how bad he is to Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, and Big Dave, who will go out here and take this demon and rebuke him as they trade him for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Taster's Choice, packets of off-brand Oreo cookies, packets of Oreo lemon cookies, packets of chocolate chip cookies off-brand, six-pack candy bars, Fritos chips, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle pies, marshmallow peeps, as they're trading him for commissary and spit roasting him. They turn it and taking the wrinkles out of that tight end and turn it into a wide receiver. But that's the justice that would be deserved in the case of this old racist. But sadly, we have this white supremacist system that is looking to give this old racist a pass, when this old racist, again, deserves to spend his final days in prison for looking to take the life of this teenage boy. That is where this old monster needs to be, because there's no reason for going out here and shooting through a door of somebody who rings a bell, and there's no reason to go out here and look to open the door and then shoot that person in the head. No, that to me is an attempt of murder, and it needs to be treated as such. Unfortunately, Missouri's criminal justice system continues to be unjust, and that's why I believe that there should be federal hate crime charges, because this definitely looks like a hate crime to me. And again, it looks like a hate crime because the evidence is there as related to the actions of this old man, and his own grandson has come out and said that he is a racist. I mean, if his grandson is coming out and making these alleged claims, again, it's showing me, as related to his actions, that this, again, is malice aforethought, and sadly, people aren't taking it seriously. They don't see the clear and present danger going on. But when I look at the actions of Andrew Lester, I see the clear and present danger of what happens when a racist is left alone. When a racist is left alone to devices like the internet, they reinforce his dysfunctional and paranoid ideas about black people, and then he believes that this is a motivation to go out here and do harm to others. Again, this man was a clear and present danger, and the saddest part is that this man possibly will be able to get away another day, like George Zimmerman. And again, the only person who can punish this individual is the Most High, and I believe that this demon will finally get his punishment. Now, if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to pick up some of my positive black fiction on the SJS Direct imprint, you can find those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available for the first time on Google Play, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are falling apart in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy on Google Play today.